And welcome back to another week. I'm Gaston Rossato. This is season 5, episode 9.
And I'm Rossato. And this week we're looking at the 1980 911 SC, or known as the Super Carrera Targa.
Whoa. Not any SC, guys. This is the SCL.
And L does not stand for luxury.
That's right. It was all performance, a car that was developed by Porsche under Rarest. We're going to tell you all about it. Stay tuned. And please, hit that subscribe button.
That's right, guys. Hit the subscribe button. Let's kick it off with the drive. Since this is a Targa, let's get that top off.
Of course.
All right, we're in the Targa.
What a beautiful car, timeless design. And this is a 1980, and it's important to mention that because it was a very critical time in the 911 world. You know, 928, 924 were being introduced. And of course, as most people know, those cars were introduced because the 911 was basically out the back door.
Yeah, well, they even talked about saying if demand for the car went below 25%, they were going to stop full production on 911. Could you imagine the kind of world we'll be living in today with no more 911?
It would be a different world, that's for sure. Well, you know, because the 928 was a V8 car, more powerful, you know,
Yeah.
0 to 60 times, and top speeds were actually greater than the best 911 of its time, Porsche developed this car.
Exactly.
Not the SC in general. I'm talking about what's
This car.
under the hood. Yes, something very special. It was basically meant for their best clientele in many ways.
Well, best clientele and the ones who complain.
And the ones who complain. The ones who complain got the good stuff.
So this car is listed for sale.
Yes.
Links down below. Check it out. You can see more detailed pictures and
It's a
some
collector
more
car.
Oh,
We have
sure.
29,000 original miles, documented miles on the
Beautiful.
car. It is a pristine, beautiful example. This gorgeous, you know, silver on black Targa. It's timeless. You
With
know?
the wheels black. It's just everything about this car is just beautiful.
And we have the certificate of authenticity there too, which we'll show. Let's go for a nice little speed. Cool thing also I love about this car, it has the 5th gear option. Okay, it's a 915 gearbox with the 5th gear. Car rides so smooth.
It's beautiful.
So nice.
I love the sound.
And it packs a punch, and it becomes alive after 3,000 RPM.
Yeah.
What a special car.
Yeah.
My God, these 911s never disappoint. They're so fun to drive. I could do this all day.
I definitely could do this all day. This car is beautiful. What a joy. What a joy. So this is my favorite part because this is a walk around, and that usually means that I get to drive next, and I cannot wait to get
You'll
down
get
to
your
it.
turn, but let's really talk about what this car is all about. It's so important. It's a collector grade car, not only because of its condition, but because of its history and prototype status.
That's right. So let's start off with how this car ended up in the States.
Right, back in the 80s, this car was imported. There was actually a loophole in the system back then that if you imported a car, you were allowed through the EPA one import without having to make the federalization changes. And this particular person made this their one car. So the car in reality reached 29,000 kilometers. We had said mistakenly miles earlier.
Yeah.
But it's 29,000 kilometers, very low mileage, very, very beautiful car again.
No, it definitely is. And so let's kick off with the 3.0 SC, right? The successor to the 2.7. And I think we should go straight to the point, head to the
Let's pop that
heart of the
back.
beast.
Yeah, because you look at this car and it doesn't say anything. It's just a standard SC Targa. The fact is, it is not an SC Targa. It's an SCL.
Right.
L will not be badged here.
And what does L stand for? Because I know we said it didn't stand for luxury, but what is?
Luftschleiter. But you don't have to worry. All it means is increased performance. 1980 was a big transition for a lot of manufacturers, and Porsche was no exception to that. They had to develop new cars. 911 had already long production. It was out the back door. They introduced the 928, 928 as evolutionized models. However, the 3-liter brought some detuned issues to the SC, and this car was a solution to that for clients that were not satisfied. But Renzo, let's talk a little bit about more what this engine is all about.
All right, so let's kick it off with what the standard 3-liter SC was about. So the standard 3-liter was 188 horsepower, right? A top speed of about 136, and it was a successor to the 2.7. And like you mentioned, the emissions and all that played a big role in what was happening. Even though it was 188 horsepower, it was more horsepower, but it was more weight.
It was a heavier car.
Yeah, so you have a lot of people complaining about performance issues, and just that the performance wasn't there. This is where we introduced Mr. Springer, right? Sprague. Sorry, Mr. Sprague. And Mr. Sprague is actually the father of the slant nose 930
and the Bosch mechanical fuel injection system.
Yeah, so you're talking about somebody with a lot of experience.
This
right?
car was his little project.
Exactly.
And you look at this engine, to the trained eye and the untrained eye, it's just a 3-liter Carrera.
That's right, but that's not the case here. So what he did under wraps, without letting anybody know, is he boarded the engine from a 95 millimeter to a 97 millimeter, increased the compression, and even made the 5th gear taller. So now we're talking about a car with 210 horsepower, a top speed of 143 miles an hour, matching the horsepower of the back 1973 Carrera RS.
That's right. So we're looking at a 3-liter with an upgraded fuel distributor and an upgraded the oil cooler.
Yeah.
That was later found in the 3.2 liter.
So ultimately what we're looking at here is not a 3-liter SC, we're looking at a 3.1 from factory, which is crazy.
A car never offered in the United States.
Right.
Okay, this was a German car, and they only made a couple hundred, and the number is not exact because those records were dissolved, and Mr. Spranger's actual work folder got lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
The cars were never coded, and they were not factory options. The only way you can get one is if you were at the dealer buying a brand new SC 3-liter and complained about the power. The dealers were instructed to tell buyers there was an option available.
Yeah, for an upgraded, tuned engine.
That would have cost you almost $4,000 more. All right, Renzo, finally your turn. Let's go for the drive.
Let's do it. There's actually one other thing we forgot to mention, a real cool fact about this car when you bought it brand new.
Yeah?
Let's talk about it when we get back to the barn. I want to drive this thing already. It just makes me want to get this car, take it down to the keys.
It's the perfect car for
Oh man, what a joy. That raspy, flat 6, 3.1 liter.
3.1. The only guy with a 3.1.
I'm definitely the only guy in a 3.1 in the South Florida area. Maybe
even the US.
Maybe even the US. That's special.
You know, that's the thing when you think about it, right? How do you identify this car if you don't know? And the fact is, there was a letter from Porsche that came saying, hey, look, this is what you have. And in the manual, it displayed the engine curve, you know, for the torque and horsepower.
Yeah.
That's as far as paperwork is concerned. But you can't just look at it and say, oh yeah, there's a 3.1. You pretty much have to open it up or look at the engine casting numbers to say, you know, this is not your standard SC 3.0.
There's that 3.1, baby. All right, we're back at the barn, guys.
That's right, Renzo. And please tell me what it is that you have up your sleeve.
Well, what I mentioned before, since this car has different components in the engine, and the engine is a different build, high performance engine, they told whoever bought this car back in the 80s, when it's time to fix it, if there's an issue, that more than likely the dealer was not going to be able to handle it because they don't have the parts or the components for the car. So you need to go straight to Porsche to get it fixed.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is really
That's
cool.
called exclusivity. And this is the whiner's car. Because if you whined that the 3-liter sucked, they offered you the 3.1. So please, guys, if you're shopping around for a brand new car, whine a little bit. You never know what Porsche might have up their sleeve.
Exactly.
Okay, we want to thank you for watching. Please join us next week for another video. We have exclusive inventory coming at you. And before you go, hit that subscribe button. I'm Gaston Rossato.
And I'm Renzo Rossato. We'll see you next time.